While you sleep tonight, an unseen river of wealth can flow into your life. If you know how to tune your mind to its hidden frequency. Most people sleep in the dark, but a few sleep in the light of abundance. Tonight, I'll show you how to do the same. While you close your eyes at night, there is a world more real than the one you see in the day. It is the silent chamber of creation, where your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs shape the events you will meet tomorrow. Yet most people let this chamber fill with the dust of fear, lack, and worry. They sleep with clenched hearts, and so they wake to another day of the same. But a few, the rare few, sleep with their minds tuned to a higher vibration, the vibration of wealth. And wealth answers them, like an echo in the mountains. Tonight, I want to show you how to become one of them. If you stay with me until the end, you will not only understand this truth, you will leave with a simple method to turn your hours of sleep into a golden factory of abundance, a frequency you will never want to live without. Wealth is not random. It is not earned solely by sweat and struggle. It is a rhythm, a signal, a pure tone that your mind can broadcast and receive. Sleep is the bridge where this tone becomes strongest. When your conscious mind releases its grip, your subconscious, the true builder of your life, becomes the master at work. And it works without resistance, without doubt, without the endless noise of your waking mind. If you enter sleep, carrying the wealth frequency, you invite the invisible to arrange your visible world with precision. Think of the moments before sleep as a sacred doorway. The last words you speak in thought, the last images you see in your inner mind, they walk straight into the workshop of the infinite. They become blueprints for events, circumstances, and people who will appear in your waking life. Yet how many people use this doorway wisely? Few indeed. Most carry the rubbish of the day into it. But you will learn to carry gold. Imagination is your painter. It colors the canvas of your tomorrow. As you lie in bed, begin to see yourself in the life you choose, the home that welcomes you, the account that grows without end, the opportunities that feel almost like magic. Let it be real in sensation. The touch of wealth, the fragrance of freedom, the sound of joyful transactions. When your inner senses feel it as true, your outer world will be powerless to resist it. But to tune into this wealth frequency, you must first release the static. Worry is static. Fear is static. Regret is static. These are the chains that keep your receiver locked onto the wrong station. Before sleep, you must let them go as you would drop a heavy stone into deep water. The lighter your heart, the clearer the signal. Words are seeds. Speak them softly in the night, and they will grow in silence. Choose them carefully. For the garden of the subconscious grows both roses and thorns. Say words that affirm your wealth, your worth, your connection to infinite supply. Whisper them in faith, and let them sink into the fertile soil of your inner mind. When you wake, the proof will begin to unfold. You may find yourself inspired to take certain steps. You may meet the right person by seeming chance. You may receive sudden opportunities or unexpected gifts. This is the language of the wealth frequency. It works in ways the logical mind could never plan. Your task is to trust it, to keep the night clear and the dream vivid, until wealth becomes as natural to you as breathing. When you close your eyes at night, you are not merely resting the body. You are stepping into a world that is more pliable, more obedient, and more fertile than the one you see with open eyes. Sleep is the bridge between two shores, the conscious shore, where you row your boat with the oars of logic and physical effort, and the unseen shore, where currents of pure creation carry you effortlessly to destinations your waking mind could barely imagine. This unseen supply is not bound by the hours of the clock, the figures in your account, or the limits of your education. It is bound only by the frequency you bring to it. If you go to sleep heavy with doubt, tangled in thoughts of lack, you enter the gateway, carrying a signal that the unseen must echo back to you in form. But if you approach that doorway with the wealth frequency, you enter a different current entirely. One that sweeps you into corridors, where ideas, opportunities, and resources are shaped and sent toward you. The waking mind is a vigilant gatekeeper. It questions, it argues, it doubts, it measures. This is useful in the physical world. But it is a slow and often stubborn servant when it comes to creation. The sleeping mind, however, does not argue. It accepts without protest whatever is handed to it in the moments before sleep. That is why these moments are so precious. In those final breaths of awareness, before drifting away, you are programming the most obedient and powerful part of yourself, your subconscious, to gather wealth in ways you may never consciously understand. Sleep, then, is not a pause in your life's work. It is the most concentrated and potent part of it. If you enter it with intention, it is in this nightly passage that the wealth frequency can be received most purely. Imagine your mind as a radio. In the day, it is surrounded by noise, worries, tasks, conversations, doubts, opinions, and endless interruptions. But at night, the noise fades. The signal becomes clearer. You can tune to the frequency of wealth without interference. In this quiet, the unseen supply listens closely. It is a field of intelligence, abundance, and order that responds instantly to what you believe and feel to be true. When your last waking thoughts are soaked in the assurance of prosperity, you send a signal so strong that the invisible begins rearranging your outer circumstances in your favor. But sleep is not just a receiving point. It is also a sending station. Your subconscious sends out instructions to this unseen supply. Instructions that are followed with precision. These instructions are not in the form of words alone, but in the emotional atmosphere you create before drifting into the deep. If you fall asleep in gratitude, you are sending out a design for more things to be grateful for. If you fall asleep feeling rich, you are giving blueprints for wealth to take shape in your world. The wealth frequency is not a whisper. It is a commanding tone that tells the universe, "This is who I am. This is what I receive. This is what is natural for me." And in sleep, this tone rings out, without contradiction from your conscious mind. Most people do not realize that they are crossing this gateway every night without carrying the treasure they could bring. They wander into sleep, as one might stumble into a banquet without knowing they can choose what to eat. They replay the annoyances of the day. They count their worries instead of blessings. They review their fears, as though rehearsing for them to happen again. And so the unseen supply answers faithfully. It gives them more of the same. For that is the law of this hidden workshop. But when you understand that sleep is a sacred passage, you will no longer treat it carelessly. You will prepare for it, as you would for the most important meeting of your life. Because that is exactly what it is. Think of the unseen supply as an infinite storehouse, filled with everything you could ever desire. Money, ideas, relationships, health, joy, freedom. The only way into it is through the gateway of the mind. And the time when the gate swings widest open is in the moments between waking and sleep. This is when the guards are absent, when the path is clear, when your signal is strongest. If you carry the wealth frequency through this opening, you will find that the storehouse begins to release its treasures into your waking life in the most natural and even astonishing ways. The more consistently you do this, the more you will see evidence that the unseen is not just real. It is the primary source of everything you will ever hold in your hands. In this way, sleep is not an ending to the day, but the beginning of creation. It is the nightly journey into the mind's inner kingdom, where wealth is not chased, but chosen, where the labor is done without strain, where the invisible architects of your fortune work with perfect skill, guided by the signal you send before you close your eyes. And when you understand this, you will never again fall asleep without first stepping into the frequency that calls abundance into form. Wealth does not arrive like a wandering traveler who happens upon your door by mistake. It comes like a loyal friend who recognizes your voice and knows the way to your home without needing directions. That voice is not in the words you speak alone. It is in the vibration you carry. Every living thing emits a vibration. Every thought, every feeling, every belief hums at a certain tone, and life answers with a perfect echo. Money is not immune to this law. In fact, it obeys it more faithfully than most realize. It is drawn to the sound of certainty, the warmth of gratitude, the clear call of worthiness. When your inner tone sings of wealth, wealth must answer, for it knows the song. You may have been told that wealth is the result of circumstances, luck, inheritance, or tireless labor. And while these may appear to be its carriers, they are not its true cause. The cause is vibration, the invisible climate of your mind and heart. Two people can work the same hours in the same field, with the same skill. And yet one will find opportunities blooming around them, while the other meets only closed doors. Why? Because one moves in the vibration of abundance, expecting and welcoming it, while the other moves in the vibration of lack, expecting struggle, and therefore meeting it again and again. The outer world is simply a mirror, held up to your inner tone. This is why sleep is so powerful. During the day, you may find it difficult to keep your vibration steady. The noise of the world can pull you into fear, comparison, impatience, or frustration. But at night, when you are no longer engaged with the outer world, your vibration can be set like a tuning fork to the wealth frequency. And once it is set, it continues to hum in your subconscious, through every hour of rest, sending out a steady invitation to the resources, people, and events that match it. It is like planting a seed in the richest soil, and letting the sun and rain do the work while you rest. The seed of wealth grows best in the stillness of a mind aligned with it. To live in the wealth vibration, you must begin to speak and think as though wealth were already your constant companion. You must treat your current state, no matter what it looks like, as fertile ground for increase. The vibration of wealth is not made of desperation or pleading, it is made of assurance and calm joy. You cannot reach it by saying, "I want," for wanting acknowledges the absence. You reach it by saying, "I receive," and "I am," for these declare the presence. Your words are not merely sounds, they are carriers of vibration, sending out signals to the unseen supply, which responds by forming outer conditions that reflect them. Some may argue that vibration is intangible, too subtle to matter. But think of music. Two instruments can play the same note, but if one is out of tune, the listener will feel the difference immediately. Life itself is the great listener, and it cannot mistake a false note. If you are playing the music of fear or doubt, wealth will not dance toward you, for it does not recognize that song. But the moment you strike the clear, resonant note of abundance, steady, unwavering, wealth begins to draw near, as naturally as iron to a magnet. The vibration is the invitation, and the invitation must be accepted. The beauty of this truth is that you do not have to chase wealth in the outer world, once you have learned to set the inner tone. This is not to say you will never take action. You will, but it will be inspired, effortless action, guided by opportunities that seem to appear at just the right time. These are the moments when someone calls with an offer, when you stumble upon an idea that sparks immediate success, when the path clears unexpectedly. These moments are not accidents. They are the precise arrangements of the vibration you have been carrying. The outer is simply the echo of the inner. And here is the great secret. Your vibration before sleep is more potent than your vibration at any other time. Why? Because it runs uninterrupted through the night, unchallenged by the waking mind's doubts and distractions. Imagine setting a tuning fork to the wealth note and placing it in a room. Its sound fills the space until it has imprinted itself into the air. Your mind is that room, and the vibration you set before sleep fills it, saturates it, and shapes the dreams and currents of your night. By morning, you rise already aligned with the wealth frequency, ready to meet the day from a position of power, rather than pursuit. When you understand that wealth is a vibration and not an accident, you stop waiting for the world to give it to you and start generating the tone that calls it forth. You become the musician of your own fortune, tuning yourself to the clear note of abundance until it becomes the only song you know. And once that song is yours, the dance of wealth toward you is not a matter of if, but when. And the when is always sooner than you think, when the body grows heavy and the eyes close. The conscious mind folds itself into quiet, but the subconscious remains awake, alert, and tireless. It is like a faithful servant who works the night shift in the hidden chambers of your life, arranging the unseen pieces that will become tomorrow's circumstances. It does not require food or sleep. It only requires direction. And here lies the power. For if you fail to give it a clear and deliberate instruction before you drift into rest, it will simply continue building from the blueprints you have given it during the day, whether they are wise or careless. Many people find themselves living the same day over and over, not realizing that their subconscious is simply following yesterday's fearful designs into today's reality. Your subconscious cannot argue with you. It does not reason, debate, or choose on its own. It accepts without resistance whatever the conscious mind impresses upon it. If the conscious mind says, "I never have enough," the subconscious begins quietly building a life in which that statement remains true. If the conscious mind says, "Opportunities always find me," the subconscious begins preparing encounters, ideas, and circumstances to fulfill it. This is why the last thoughts before sleep are so critical. For in those moments, the conscious mind is soft, suggestible, and ready to pass its instructions directly into the subconscious, where they will be carried out with perfect loyalty. Wealth, therefore, is not only the product of what you do in your waking hours, it is the product of what you allow your subconscious to create while you rest. And because the subconscious works without pause, every hour of your sleep is either building more of what you desire or more of what you fear. The choice is yours. If you carry the wealth frequency into sleep, you set your subconscious to work on prosperity with the same ease that a skilled artisan works on a masterpiece through the night, unseen and uninterrupted. Consider the gardener who plants seeds and leaves them to grow in the dark. The gardener does not sit beside them, pulling at the soil to hurry their emergence. They trust the invisible process. Your subconscious is the soil, rich and fertile, ready to bring forth whatever you plant in it. But unlike the gardener's earth, your subconscious does not wait for daylight. It grows your seeds even in the depths of night. If the seed is lack, it will grow lack. If the seed is wealth, it will grow wealth. The subconscious is not biased toward your joy or your sorrow. It is biased only toward your belief. Some believe that, because they cannot consciously feel or see the subconscious at work during sleep, nothing is happening. But in truth, the most important changes occur when you are least aware of them. Just as the body heals wounds in the quiet of night, without your conscious direction, so too does your subconscious heal the wounds of lack and limitation, provided you feed it with the nourishing ideas of abundance before you rest. It reshapes your mental patterns, dissolves resistance, and aligns you with the flow of wealth, so that by the time you wake, you are walking into a reality already prepared for you. The subconscious is also the great connector. While you rest, it communicates with the infinite intelligence from which all wealth flows. It sends out the vibration you have impressed upon it, and this vibration calls to its match in the outer world. A meeting, a contract, a gift, a revelation. It can reach places you cannot walk, speak to people you have not met, and arrange events beyond your conscious planning. It is your silent partner in the business of living richly, and it works best when you give it a simple, vivid, and repeated command before you sleep. This is why it is never wise to go to bed thinking of bills unpaid, doors closed, or failures past. In doing so, you are handing your subconscious the blueprints for more of the same. Instead, speak to it as you would to the most skilled builder in the world, with clarity, faith, and expectation. Tell it what you are receiving, not what you fear. See in your mind what you are living, not what you are lacking. Feel in your body the joy of wealth, as though it were already complete. For in the realm of the subconscious, it is. Once the subconscious accepts it as real, it begins to shape your outer life, so that it becomes visible to your eyes. The great mercy of this law is that you do not have to force your wealth into being through constant, waking effort. You can hand the design to your subconscious and let it work while you rest. The more you trust this process, the faster it works. For doubt is the only command that can halt its progress. To doubt is to give conflicting instructions. To say one moment, build me a palace, and the next moment, perhaps I am only meant for a hut. The subconscious will obey both, resulting in delays, half-finished rooms, and confused blueprints. But the moment you become consistent in your wealth frequency, the subconscious works with speed and perfection. When you understand that your subconscious never sleeps, you will begin to see your nights not as empty hours, but as golden opportunities. Each evening becomes a chance to place an order in the unseen storehouse, knowing that by morning, the pieces have already begun moving into place. You will wake not wondering if the day will bring wealth, but knowing that it must. For your silent partner has been arranging it for you while you lay in peace. The thoughts you carry into the night are not drifting clouds that vanish with the dawn. They are seeds, pressed into the most fertile soil of your mind, and by morning they will have taken root in the unseen, ready to sprout in the seen. Every image, every word, every emotion you allow to linger as you fall asleep becomes a blueprint for the day ahead. This is why one person wakes to ease and another to struggle, though they live under the same sun. They have sound differently in the quiet hours, when no one was watching, when the world was still, and the only architect at work was the mind itself. Night is the time when the conscious mind loosens its grip and the subconscious takes the helm. It is during these hours that the impressions you give it are magnified and fixed. If you fall asleep, rehearsing the troubles of the day, you have effectively stamped those troubles into tomorrow's mold. If you fall asleep, imagining the richness of your life, feeling the joy of wealth already received, you are stamping gold into the mold instead. This is not wishful thinking, it is law. The subconscious is impartial. It takes the strongest impression you give it and reproduces it in form, whether that impression is one of poverty or abundance. The beauty of night is that it offers you a rare and uninterrupted stretch of time in which your thoughts are not scattered by the demands of the outer world. In the stillness of your bed, you are the sole guardian of your mental garden. You decide what grows there. If you wish to harvest wealth, you must plant it in the hours when planting is most effective, the final minutes before sleep. In these minutes, your mind is in a state of openness and receptivity unlike any other time. The door to the subconscious is wide, and whatever you place at its threshold will be taken inside and built upon without question. To shape the gold of tomorrow, you must become deliberate about the final thoughts you entertain. Let them be images of your desires fulfilled, of wealth flowing toward you, of freedom, joy, and ease. Picture yourself handling the tools of your prosperity, signing the contract, depositing the check, walking through the doors of the home you love. Hear the conversations where opportunities are offered to you. Feel the relief and the gratitude, as though it were happening now. The mind does not distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is physically real. It responds to both in the same way. And when it responds, it sets into motion a chain of events that will lead you to the physical equivalent of what you have pictured. The mistake many make is believing that the thoughts they have at night are fleeting, without power. They imagine that because they are not acting on them physically, they are harmless. But the mind is always acting, always shaping, always creating. Night thoughts are not idle. They are the most potent. For they are the last instructions given to the most obedient and powerful part of you. And unlike your conscious thoughts in the day, which may be interrupted or contradicted, these thoughts are carried into the depth of sleep and worked upon without resistance for hours on end. Think of a sculptor who begins his work at sunset. If you give him clay of gold, he will shape gold. If you give him clay of stone, he will shape stone. The subconscious is that sculptor, and your night thoughts are the clay. Every evening, you are placing material in its hands, saying, "Shape this for me." And it will, with skill and devotion. By morning, the sculpture may not yet be in your hands, but the shape will have begun, and the path to its completion will already be in motion. Some will say, "But I cannot control my thoughts at night. They run away with me." This is not true. You may have allowed them to run wild in the past, but you can train them as surely as you can train a muscle to grow strong. Begin by choosing one image or one phrase that represents the wealth you desire. Repeat it gently in your mind as you drift to sleep. If other thoughts come, do not fight them. Simply return to your chosen image or phrase, like a sailor steering back toward the light of the shore. In time, your mind will learn to rest in this place naturally, without effort, because it will recognize it as home. The wealth frequency is not reached by accident in the night. It is reached by intention. It is reached by the deliberate planting of thoughts that align with abundance, by the conscious rejection of fear, doubt, and limitation in the moments before you surrender to sleep. And once you master this nightly practice, you will find that your mornings begin to feel different. You will wake lighter, clearer, more certain. Opportunities will appear with less strain. You will sense the invisible threads that connect your night thoughts to your day's events, and you will understand that you have become the true shaper of your life. In this way, night becomes not an ending, but the true beginning of wealth. The gold of tomorrow is forged not in the marketplace, not in the office, but in the quiet sanctuary of the mind before sleep. Here, in these sacred moments, you hold the power to command your unseen supply, to set in motion the arrangements that will deliver to you the life you desire. Once you understand this, you will treat your night thoughts as treasures, guarding them, polishing them, and setting them carefully in place, so that when the sun rises, it will shine upon the golden path you prepared in the dark. Imagination is the brush that paints the landscape of your life, and the colors you choose before sleep are the ones that will dry into form in the days ahead. The mind is never more receptive to its own pictures than in those moments when you are suspended between waking and dreaming. In that quiet borderland, the gates of the subconscious stand wide open, and whatever image you place upon its canvas will be received without question and reproduced with perfect loyalty. This is why the pictures you entertain before surrendering to sleep hold such extraordinary power. They are not idle fantasies. They are architectural plans handed to the unseen builders of your destiny. The average person uses imagination carelessly, allowing it to paint scenes of fear, failure, or limitation, not realizing that these pictures are not harmless. They are seeds of tomorrow's experiences. They may lie dormant for a time, but eventually, the outer world will reflect them, as surely as water reflects the moon. But when you begin to use your imagination with intention, especially at night, you become the deliberate artist of your own life. You no longer leave the choice of color to chance. You dip your brush in gold, in light, in abundance. And you paint as though the picture is already finished, already hanging in the gallery of your reality. To work with imagination before sleep is to give your subconscious mind a living image to build from. Words are powerful, but images speak even more directly to the inner mind. When you picture yourself living in the wealth you desire, feeling the weight of the coins in your hand, smelling the scent of fresh bills, hearing the ring of transactions in your favor, you are impressing upon your subconscious not just an idea, but a fully formed scene. And the subconscious responds by seeking and creating its equivalent in the physical world. This is not magic in the sense of fantasy. It is magic in the sense of law. The law that the outer must reflect the inner, that the seen is born of the unseen. One of the great truths about imagination is that it is not bound by the limits of your current circumstances. You may live in a small room tonight and imagine a mansion. You may have debts tonight and imagine overflowing accounts. You may feel limited tonight and imagine total freedom. The subconscious does not question whether the image is real in the present moment. It accepts it as real because you have given it life in feeling. And once accepted, it sets about arranging the events, connections, and opportunities that will lead you toward the physical equivalent. In this way, imagination is not mere daydreaming. It is deliberate creation. The power of this practice, before sleep, lies in the fact that it continues long after you have stopped consciously picturing it. Once the image is planted, the subconscious paints it over and over in the deep chambers of the mind, refining it, adding detail, and searching for ways to bring it into your waking experience. It works tirelessly while you rest, like an artist who labors through the night on a commission they know will bring joy to the one who receives it. The more vivid your image, the more clearly the subconscious understands the commission, and the more feeling you pour into it, the faster it works. To use imagination effectively before sleep, you must enter into the picture as though you are living it now. Do not stand outside it, watching yourself from a distance. Step into it fully. Feel the texture of the fabrics in your home. Taste the richness of the foods on your table. Hear the tone of your own voice as you speak with confidence and ease. Let the scene be alive in every sense. The subconscious responds to feeling more strongly than to thought alone. And it is feeling that fixes the image in place, so that it continues to shape your reality long after you have drifted into dreams. Many will say, "But what if I cannot see clearly in my mind? What if my imagination is weak?" The truth is, imagination is never weak, it is only unused. Like a muscle, it grows stronger with practice. Begin with small, clear images, and let them grow more vivid each night. Perhaps you imagine holding a single gold coin and feeling its weight in your palm. Night after night, that coin may multiply in your mind until you see piles of them. Then entire rooms filled with treasure. The subconscious will accept each stage as real, and in time, your outer world will reflect the richness you have allowed yourself to see within. Imagination is the painter of your reality, but before sleep, it becomes the master painter. The quiet of night removes the distractions of the outer world, allowing you to focus entirely on the scene you wish to create. In this stillness, you have the full attention of your subconscious, and every stroke of your inner brush is received as an instruction. The colors you choose are your emotions, the shapes are your thoughts, the light in the painting is your faith. When you rise in the morning, the outer world will begin to adjust itself to match the picture you have painted. Often in ways so natural, you will forget you created them in the first place. When you understand this, you will never again fall asleep with images of lack or limitation in your mind. You will guard the canvas of your imagination as you would guard a treasure. For you will know that what you paint at night, you will walk into by day. And with this knowledge, you will choose your colors wisely, always remembering that the brush is in your hand, and the masterpiece is your life. Worry is the static that drowns out the clear signal of abundance. It is the interference that distorts the wealth frequency until the notes are unrecognizable, and the treasures meant for you cannot find their way. You cannot hold a song of wealth in your heart while your mind hums with anxiety, for the two are in opposition. One calls, the other repels. One opens the door, the other bolts it shut. If you wish to enter the wealth frequency, especially as you drift into the most fertile hours of creation during sleep, you must first lay down the burden of worry as a traveler lays down a heavy pack before crossing a delicate bridge. Worry pretends to be a friend, whispering that it is keeping you alert and prepared. But, in truth, it only keeps you chained to the very conditions you fear. It is the mind rehearsing a future you do not want, carving grooves in the subconscious where lack can easily flow. Every moment you spend in worry is a moment. You are practicing the vibration of scarcity, and the subconscious is listening carefully, ready to reproduce in form whatever you rehearse. If you take worry into sleep, you have given it the most fertile ground to grow. Hours of uninterrupted attention in the dark soil of your mind. And it will grow faithfully, for the subconscious cannot reject what you plant. To release worry is not to ignore reality. It is to refuse to give reality the power to dictate what will be. It is to say, this may be the condition today, but it is not the condition of my spirit, and it will not be the condition of my tomorrow. This is the mental posture that allows the wealth frequency to come through clearly. Just as a musician tunes their instrument before playing, you must tune your mind to harmony before you fall asleep, and worry is the sharp, discordant note that must be silenced. One of the most powerful ways to release worry before sleep is to deliberately replace it with gratitude. Gratitude is not merely a pleasant emotion, it is a tuning device. When you name the things you are thankful for, even the smallest, you shift your mind from what is missing to what is present, from what is feared to what is loved. And in this shift, the wealth frequency can be heard again. It is as if the static clears, and the melody of abundance returns to fill your mind. Gratitude before sleep is like placing your subconscious in a warm, bright room, safe from the cold winds of doubt, ready to work joyfully through the night on your behalf. Another way to release worry is through the use of affirmative words. Words are not only descriptions, they are commands to the subconscious. When you say, "I am guided, I am supplied, I am safe in the care of the infinite," you are not ignoring your outer circumstances. You are setting a higher truth as the blueprint for what is to come. The subconscious will obey, and in obeying, it will find ways to dissolve the conditions that gave rise to the worry in the first place. Speak these words slowly, with feeling, as you lie in bed, and let them be the last sound your mind hears before drifting into the deep. The truth is, worry and wealth cannot share the same space. Where one lives, the other leaves. Worry contracts your vision, making you see only the problem. Wealth expands your vision, revealing paths and possibilities you could not see before. When you release worry, you open the gates to these paths, and the unseen supply begins to arrange the steps that lead you into prosperity. This is not mere theory. It is a law as certain as gravity. The vibration you carry is the invitation you send, and worry is a poor invitation, written in the language of lack. The wealth frequency requires an invitation, written in the language of faith, joy, and assurance. Sometimes worry is not loud. It is a low hum, a quiet unease that follows you into bed. This can be even more dangerous, for it slips beneath awareness and feeds the subconscious without your notice. To guard against this, make it a nightly ritual to scan your mind before sleep. Ask yourself, what am I carrying into the night? If you find tension, release it. If you find fear, dissolve it with truth. If you find doubt, answer it with the certainty that the same intelligence that grows the stars and moves the tides is more than able to supply your needs. Let this be your last thought, for the subconscious will take it and multiply it while you rest, once worry is released. The wealth frequency comes through effortlessly. You do not need to force it, for it is always there. Like a radio station playing, just beyond the reach of static. Your task is not to create the music, but to clear the channel. And when you do, you will find that abundance flows toward you without the struggle you once believed necessary. You will wake with ideas that solve problems, with a sense of lightness and possibility, with evidence that the unseen has been working for you while you slept in peace. Words are seeds, and every word you speak before sleep falls into the most fertile soil you will ever find, the soil of your subconscious mind. Unlike the day, when your words are scattered among countless distractions, The night offers a quiet field where each word can take root deeply, without interruption. If you wish to harvest wealth, you must plant wealth, seeds. And the way to do this is through the deliberate use of seed words. Phrases charged with the vibration of abundance, spoken with conviction, and left to grow in the silence of sleep. A seed is small, but it contains within it the entire design of the tree. In the same way, a single phrase, spoken in faith, contains the entire pattern of the reality it will produce. When you say before sleep, "Wealth flows to me freely and constantly," you are not merely making a statement. You are placing in your subconscious the design of a life where wealth is natural, consistent, and effortless. The subconscious will work to bring this design into physical form, for it cannot resist the blueprints you give it with feeling and repetition. The beauty of seed words is that they do not have to be long or complicated. In fact, the simpler they are, the more powerfully they impress the subconscious. A phrase like, "I live in divine abundance," or "Money comes to me easily," is enough, provided it is spoken with the feeling of truth. The subconscious does not measure the logic of the words. It measures the emotion behind them. This is why many people fail in their affirmations. They speak the words mechanically, without feeling, as though reciting lines without meaning. But when you speak with belief, with gratitude, with the sense that what you are saying is already real, you infuse the seed with life, and it grows quickly in the dark. Before sleep, the mind is soft open and suggestible. It will not argue with you, nor will it demand evidence. This is the perfect moment to speak seed words, for they will pass directly into the subconscious without resistance. As you repeat them, let them sink deeper, not through force, but through gentle persistence. Feel each word as though it is shaping you from within. The more vividly you feel, the stronger the roots of the seed will grow during the night. It is also powerful to combine seed words with imagery. As you speak, see yourself living the reality you are affirming. If you say, "I am surrounded by wealth," picture yourself in that wealth, walking through a beautiful home, holding a bank statement filled with abundance, enjoying the freedom to travel where you please. This fusion of word and image is the most potent way to impress the subconscious, for it gives both a verbal and visual instruction, making the design of your wealth complete. You may choose to create a small set of seed words to use every night, repeating them until they become second nature. This repetition is not dull. It is the steady watering of the soil. Just as a farmer does not plant seeds once and then abandon the field, you must plant night after night until the harvest comes. And it will come, often sooner than expected. You will notice small signs first: an unexpected gift, a chance meeting, an idea that opens a new path. These are the sprouts breaking through the soil, proof that the seeds have taken root. In time, the full harvest will appear, and you will know that it grew from the simple phrases you spoke in the quiet of night. The caution here is simple. Never plant seeds of lack. Words like, "I can't afford that," or "I never have enough," are weeds in the garden of your mind. And if you plant them before sleep, they will grow just as faithfully as words of wealth. The subconscious does not judge. It only produces. Your role is to choose wisely, to speak only what you want to see in your reality. Make it a sacred rule that the last words you speak to yourself each night are words of abundance, prosperity, and freedom. Over time, this practice will not only change your circumstances, it will change you. You will begin to think, speak, and act from the vibration of wealth naturally, without effort. Opportunities will seem to come from nowhere, but you will know they are the result of the seeds you have been planting night after night. You will see the law at work in your life, and you will trust it as you trust the rising of the sun. And in this trust, you will find that wealth is not a chase, but a harvest. A harvest you command with every seed, word you speak before you close your eyes. Morning is not just the start of a new day. It is the evidence of what you planted the night before. The first thoughts that greet you upon waking are the harvest of the seeds you left in the soil of your subconscious. If you fell asleep to fear, you will rise to heaviness. If you drifted into dreams with words of abundance and images of prosperity, you will awaken with clarity, lightness, and the quiet certainty that wealth is already finding its way to you. The morning does not lie. It simply reveals the vibration you carried into sleep. The truth is, you can tell whether your night's alignment was successful without even looking at your bank account or outer conditions. You can feel it in the first few breaths of the day. Do you rise with a restless urge to worry? Or do you rise with a calm knowing that things are working out? This feeling is the first sign of the harvest beginning. When the inner world wakes in harmony, the outer world soon follows in order, because it is only ever a reflection. The wealthy morning is not defined by the amount of gold in your hand, but by the amount of gold in your thought. To observe this connection is to gain a new level of mastery. You begin to treat the hours before sleep as sacred preparation, knowing that they will shape the hours after waking. You become deliberate about what you feed your mind in those final minutes. What you read, what you speak, what you allow yourself to feel. And as you practice this, you start to notice that mornings, once filled with dread, now carry a gentle anticipation, as though the day is holding a gift just beyond your sight. This is the wealth frequency announcing itself before the outer form appears. When you rise, it is powerful to acknowledge the proof of the night's alignment before you even leave your bed. Whisper words of gratitude for the feeling of peace, for the ideas that may come, for the unseen arrangements already in motion on your behalf. This act not only strengthens the seeds planted overnight, it waters them, ensuring they grow strong throughout the day. If, however, you wake to find your mind unsettled, do not judge yourself. Simply take it as a sign to be more intentional the following night. The process is forgiving, and every night offers another chance to plant again. Morning is also the perfect time to notice the small fruits that have already ripened. Perhaps a message arrives with good news. Perhaps you receive unexpected help. Perhaps a thought comes to you that solves a long-standing problem. These are not coincidences. They are the first returns from the work you have done in the unseen. The wealth frequency moves swiftly once you are aligned with it, and morning is the stage where it first begins to show its performance. Over time, The link between your nights and mornings becomes unshakable in your awareness. You no longer see sleep as an empty pause between days, but as the most important chamber of creation. A silent workshop where your mind crafts the shape of your tomorrow. And when you know that tomorrow's wealth begins in tonight's thoughts, you treat those thoughts as treasures, guarding them carefully, choosing them wisely, speaking them tenderly into the dark. Then you rise in the light, and the world delivers what the night prepared in this way. The morning becomes your confirmation, your reminder, and your encouragement to keep walking in the wealth frequency. Each dawn tells you, it is working. Each sunrise whispers, continue. And in that steady rhythm between night and morning, planting and harvest, thought and manifestation, you live in the flow where wealth is no longer a distant dream, but the natural atmosphere of your being.